Hello and welcome to another StarCraft 2 co-op video. Today we'll be taking an in-depth look at the Zerg comp Devouring Scourge. This comp is nicknamed Weak Zerg for a reason. It's weak. None of the waves are strong. As such, it has no strengths, none, and many weaknesses. The enemies don't have much HP nor DPS. They don't do AoE damage. The later waves are actually weaker than earlier waves because there are no Zerglings. Many commanders like this comp. Raynor Bio loves ripping through these guys. Alarak's Death Fleet loves this too. The Scourge usually die before they even get close to a destroyer. There are a few commanders who don't particularly like this comp. They can deal with these weaklings, but they'd rather fight something else. Artanis doesn't like fighting lings in general, so he's not a big fan. Of course, if he gets to the late game, he loves it. Pretty much everyone loves Devouring Scourge. Nova only kinda loves this because the Scourge might take out Liberators, or at least you have to siege and unsiege to deal with them. If you go Bio or a mixed comp, then she'll be fine. Phoenix doesn't like heavy air comps, and Zagara needs to make Scourge to deal with the heavy air later on. Vorazun and Hanenhorner kinda hate this because they'd much rather deal with ground enemies. Vorazun needs a lot of Corsairs to deal with Scourge, which means slightly fewer units on the ground. HH Galleons don't like to get Scourged, so they have to be defended with Magmines or Flying Reapers. There are a lot of notes for various maps. First is OE. This map is usually difficult due to the early T6 waves, but because the later waves of this comp are extremely weak, this map is actually a lot easier than usual. The second wave on Chain of Ascension will also be easier. You should keep in mind that it's an all-air wave, so get the anti-air ready. On Temple, the Scourge will go after the Temple, so hover Overlords or Terran buildings to take some hits. Protoss are out of luck. Mal Warfare. Scourge also fly towards Arana. Overlords are an option, but flying Terran structures, not really. Also, the tier 5 waves during the 4th and 5th terminals will fly directly to the objective. On missed opportunities, tier 5 waves will fly directly toward the bots. The most noticeable one is this one, where the Guardians will fly over, they will hover over this unpathable terrain. On Void Thrashing, waves will take a slightly different path. The 15 or 16 minute wave will fly over this part instead of taking the ramp. It's not that different, but if you try to engage them here, they won't be there. On VP, same thing. They will take air paths. If they spawn at the bottom, they'll fly over the bottom natural. If they spawn at the top right, they'll fly over the top when heading to the main. On RTK, same thing. The path to the right natural is more noticeable since they fly past the pirate ship. And on Cradle, the later waves will fly up the middle. Not a huge difference, but it could affect your positioning. There are only a few mutators to watch out for. When there's Hardened Will, make sure you can take out the Guardians in the back. With aggressive deployment, beware of Scourge landing directly on your air units. Transmutation is actually really weak because Guardians and Devourers turn into really weak tier 2 units. The Mutalisk is tier 4 out of 10 and that's the highest one. And that's it for this lesson. What are your thoughts on Devouring Scourge? Leave your comments below. Thanks to all the members who are supporting me. If you would like to join, check out the link in the description. And while you're here, why don't you check out the previous deep dive into Vanguard of Ire? See you there.